There are problems within Jehovah's Witness society that are not due to explicit policy or anything you can see in print, but are the logical result of rules and culture. And the thing that I had recently occurred to me was about grooming, not dress and grooming, but the grooming of younger women by older men. And if you look at the policies that the witnesses have, this is the logical outcome. If you are a woman, you are, they're always portraying you as married to a man. If you're not, you're a single pioneer sister who's happy in her singleness. She takes joy in her spinsterhood. But you're not supposed to talk back to men. You are especially not men who have titles and privileges, because they've been appointed by Holy Spirit. And so, who am I? Oh, by the way, Lloyd's lovely shirt. Who am I as a woman to speak ill of those who have been appointed by Holy Spirit? You can't talk back to elders. You can't talk back to ministerial servants. And just in general, as a witness, you are taught to, you could trust any witness. Oh, you could go anywhere in the world, and if you meet witnesses, you have a place to stay. They're your friends. Even though I've never met you, I love you, even though I never met you before. That song. This idea of uncritical trust, that all you need is the label of witness to trust someone, and indeed you have to love them. They have to be your friend, creates a class, or not a class, but it creates a group of people that are extremely susceptible to manipulation. So there are a lot of large age gap marriages that I am aware of, and many of them have succeeded. But when it doesn't, it's not good. And just looking at it objectively, the scenarios where this happens it's not great. It's not good. If you are a single teenage sister, you are graduating high school, what are your options? Pioneer, sure, but you're still living with your parents. Can't really go to school, maybe for nursing. That's a possibility. But ultimately, the way that you leave your house, the way that you have some level of independence, is to get married. The number of single sisters that have moved out and live on their own is low. It's very low. Jumping right into marriage is fairly common. So you either live with your parents until you're older and then get married. Maybe you have a basement apartment. Maybe you have like a side condo, split mother-in-law apartment, something like that. You can live there until you're older. But it is very rare in my experience, for witness women to move out on their own and live on their own and support themselves, because it's hard to do that when you're told not to have a career, when you're told that you need to pioneer. So it doesn't happen very often. So your other option is get married. I'm 18, I'm 19, time to get married. Time to move out so I can get out from under my parents and be an independent woman. And I have seen this happen multiple times, where an older man will see a younger woman and groom her. So I'll give you three levels of example. I had a friend who was a witness who explicitly said, because he was having trouble with the ladies, and he's in his early mid-20s at this time, he said, what you need to do is find a sister who's younger. He meant middle teens, and then guide them so that when they're ready, when they're legal, they're the kind of woman that you want to marry. That's grooming. Explicitly, that's grooming. You are finding and crafting a person to your desires. Icky. That's gross. This isn't exactly grooming, but the susceptibility to grooming. My uh, I won't name specifics because I'm realizing I don't want to call people out specifically, but I have multiple close people to me that I know of various generations that got married specifically to leave their house. Maybe they liked their husband, but their big motivator was they wanted to leave their house, and this was the only way to do it. Again, prime targets for grooming. And so here's the perfect example of grooming. There was a brother in his late 30s who fancied a sister who was not yet legal. And so what he did was he became family friends, went out in service with them. He paid for their braces. He taught them how to get dressed. And when they were old enough, when they were legal, he married them. He crafted himself the perfect woman. That's disgusting. It's really gross. It's nowhere encouraged that you do this, but the witnesses don't talk about power dynamics. They don't talk about, older people can manipulate you, and so you have to be on your guard, because teaching critical thinking, teaching that you must be for your own safety, looking at other people for whether or not they're trying to take advantage of you, questioning their motives. That's the kind of thing that might lead to apostasy. Because what if the elders are doing it? Or God forbid, Zeus forbid that the governing body may be engaging in some sort of manipulation. So you don't teach that sort of thing. This may be urban legend. It sounds like urban legend, but it shows that the witnesses are aware that this is a problem. Because in multiple halls, when I lived in New England and in the South, there were stories of, someone started studying with the witnesses, and then they even got baptized, and they got married. And as soon as they got married, they left because they wanted a good witness girl. Even if this didn't happen, this is showing that you are subconsciously aware of the problem of that. If you are tricked as a witness sister into marrying this guy who then, the whole time it's been an ulterior motive that he wants a witness wife because he knows that if they leave, they will get disfellowshipped and they will lose their friends and family, and that they are taught to be, obedient and subservient and not talk back to their husband and win them without a word. So you also don't have to worry about them, talking too much and complaining to you that you're not being a good spiritual head or witness or whatever. So they are aware that witness sisters are vulnerable to this type of relationship. They subconsciously know, there's a flaw in the system that people could take advantage of. This happens, and it happens not because the governing body or the watchtower ever says, find a young girl and, sculpt them to your ideal woman, like they're not a person or anything, but a robot to meet your needs. It doesn't say that anywhere, but it is the logical outcome. And another kind of, this is less relevant, more of a side tangent, but the idea of paradise where age doesn't matter. Goat-like Personality had a thing where a much older sister called the dibs on him when he was a baby because his father apparently was good looking. And so, I'm going to wait for him to grow older and I will grow younger. And then I've got a good looking man waiting for me in the new system. Grooming. This is, whether or not they're acting on it, this is the mindset of someone who is going to groom a younger, vulnerable, naive person who has, limited resources. It's a power dynamic problem. This person can manipulate this other person. It's a problem, and it's a problem that I find maybe this is my own, white middle-ish class U.S. perspective. I don't know if this is a universal witness perspective, but it wouldn't surprise me because, like I said, that naivety, that, they want you to be childlike, that unquestioning obedience to witness authority, that unquestioning friendship, love, forgiveness, that uncritical thought of other witnesses, it's prime for grooming. It's also the reason why there's such a problem with child abuse, because again, creates the perfect environment for people to take advantage of this situation. Yep. Kind of gross, kind of sad. Yeah, I can think of a lot of relationships that tick these boxes where like, oh, he was 35 and he married an 18-year-old, 19-year-old. Hope it goes well for them. Oh boy. There's so many things. There's so many things to pick apart within the witnesses that are problems. Not unique to the witnesses. This is not solely to them, but these kind of issues are magnified in this environment. So that's what I had for you today. A nice, lighthearted discussion on grooming of child brides. What is this? What am I doing? What am I doing with my time? What were we in? It's so weird thinking about it now. It's so weird. I just want a 12-minute rant on how to, if you were a sociopathic person, on how to go find yourself the perfect, wife/slave. Please no one do that. Take advantage of these poor, deluded people. They're nice.